Lab number 54. In this lab, we continue to set up our MobileFirst Platform server on Ubuntu server machine. And now it's time to actually set up the MobileFirst Platform server, because we already have DB2, we already have application server in place. So now we actually need to set up the server. So let's go back to our terminal and connect back to our virtual machine with Ubuntu server. So make sure you're running it and make sure that you're using again the proper IP address. Most probably it's not the same one that I'm using, but your own. So setup of MobileFirst Platform server can be split into two parts. The first part is what you can do automatically using the graphical interface and so on, and the second part is the things that you anyway need to do manually by hands using the scripts, using the XML files. For now it's still like that. So the things like that is, for example, analytics. So after server setup, you will anyway need to configure analytics manually and set up it manually. And basically, you can also forget about graphical install. If you want to do everything with the XML scripts and so on, you can do everything by that. But because we are simplifying things and we're trying to do it as fast as possible, we will use the graphical install. So for that, let's go to opt IBM and the installation manager Eclipse folder. As you remember, we installed the installation manager here, and under sudo, let's run the IBM installation manager. And as you remember, also in previous lab, we added here in repositories MobileFirst Platform Server repository, so we should be able to click install and select MobileFirst Platform Server from here. So you also need to accept the license terms. Basically select the location, default one is fully fine. Don't need to change anything, and then the configuration wizard. So I will make this thing a bit bigger so it will be easier to read. A few things that you should know. First, the token licensing that you can achieve with the rational license key server is not possible currently with the Liberty profile installation, so we'll select no, and we also do not have the rational activation server anyway. We will install the application center. As I was saying in previous lab, ideally you should set up it on different machine, and there is a link. For example, if you will follow this one, how to install it, it's pretty easy. You just need to copy the files and then configure server XML if you're running the Liberty, for example. But we will install it in the same instance, in mfp instance, the same one that we will use for MobileFirst Platform installation. So let's click next. Database will be DB2. This one is what we have together with the license for MobileFirst Platform. Of course, you can use, as you can see, the MySQL or Oracle, even Apache Derby, but this is the file-based, so it's not for production use. So we'll use DB2, and then we will need to provide information about our host. So let's select the local host, and also the path for JDBC file, so jar file, the driver for DB2. Actually, it's coming together with installation of DB2. So if you're running the same machine, like in our case, you can just click browse and navigate to the file system, the place where you installed DB2. In our case, it's opt IBM DB2, and then the folder called Java, and then the file called DB2 JCC4. If you have it in real life on different machine, of course, you can either get the file from there or download it from a link. The link is here. So then we can click next. We will be using the default account that was created with our instance. So db2 inst1. This is not a recommended action. Of course, you should create a different user and so on, but we are simplifying things. So the password, as you remember, is double Q with uppercase, double Q with lowercase, 1, 2, 3, 4. We can click next. And then the system will check permissions, whether we have it or not. We have it, so we can click next. And then the App Center database will be created. So this database is needed in order to run the application center. So the metadata, the applications, and a lot of other things will be there. So let's wait. It shouldn't take a lot. Yep, the database is there. And then we need to select the application server. So basically we have two options. The first one is the application server, and it includes everything, starting with the full network deployment, continuing with the just application server, base installations, and in our case it's Liberty profile. This is a totally separate thing. Or you can use Apache Tomcat, but in our labs we are using the Liberty core. So we need to select the installation folder. If you're using the Liberty core, by default you will be able to see the same as we are doing in these labs, and the server name is mfp, so you need to select that. Click next. Then we need to select either the user under which we will try, or for whom we will grant access to start and stop the server, or multiple users, like by specifying the group name. Well, anyway, we'll be running under root because we are simplifying things, so we can enter here almost everything, but let's type something like IBM user. That's it. Basically, we can click next and then install to install the MobileFirst Platform server. Well, as you can see, it was pretty fast. Unfortunately, that's not everything that needs to be done in order for us to say, like, we are ready to go. So a few additional things are required. First of all, let's set up the analytics. So the analytics is located, the installation, is located under installation of MobileFirst Platform server, so it's available only after you will install it. And the easiest option for us will be to run MC and navigate to the MobileFirst Platform server. It's under opt IBM and then analytics. And then basically what will happen is that you have two options. First option, you can copy the files, like WAR files or one ER that contain both to your installation, to the server that you will be using for analytics, or you can use the configuration samples. There is no need to create a database in this version, so you will just need to select one of the XML files. In our case, it's like Liberty Analytics, because we are using the Liberty profile. In case we were on WASP or network deployment, we will select another one. But as you can see, for Liberty, it's pretty easy. We just selecting this XML file. Let's press F4 to enable editing. And then we need to edit some of the parameters for this XML. So the things that you need to modify is the location. So this one is really easy. We need to modify this server install dir. So the path that is provided as example is also it's totally the same as ours, so I just will remove everything else, just like that. Then we also need to provide the correct path for installation directory of WebSphere application server. So it's again totally the same, no need to change any line except deleting other stuff. And the name of the Liberty server, this is the name of our server instance that we created. As you remember, we named it Analytics. So what else? Basically we have here default user and default password. Right away it's recommended to change it. but because we are running the lab series, so we are doing the simplifications, no need to change anything. So default user and default password will be admin. And basically that's it. Just click F10 and agree to save changes before close. So now you can actually exit from MC and navigate to location of these files. So MobileFirst Platform Server Analytics, and then configuration samples, and then type under sudo user and -f and provide the file name. In our case it's configure Liberty Analytics, and click install, and type also install. Install is default command for installing the analytics with this file. So what it will be doing, as you can see, it's copying the var files to the location of our analytics server inside the apps folder, and also changing our server XML. Basically that's it, nothing else is done here. So now we need to restart the server and check that analytic console is actually up and running, and we are able to see the blank, almost the blank page with no data, but still it will be up and running. So for that we need to go to IBM folder, and then from IBM folder back to WebSphere Liberty bin. And with sudo using server stop mfp first stop the server for both mfp and analytics, because we did some changes to it, to both of them during the install. Of course, then start. So analytic with the changes that we made recently during analytics setup will be started, and the mfp server during the MobileFirst Platform installation itself was also modified. So we can also start MFP here. And that's it. Now let's go back to our browser. Actually, we should have this IP address of our Ubuntu server, and then the port 9081 for analytics, and then we should type /analytics to actually open the analytics console. As you can see, the console is there, so the username and the password, as you remember, by default we left the same, so it's admin, and it should open the same page for you. So no data, no sessions, nothing, but at least the console is working. So basically now in this step we can exit from our SSH connection, and I will clear the screen. Basically that's it. On this step we completed our lab number 5.4, and only the final step in our installation process is left to configure the runtime. We will do it in the next lab. Thank you.